Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer just called for regime change in the Middle East, but not in Iran, or Syria, or Gaza, or the Palestinian Authority. No, he called for regime change in the state of Israel. We're going to get into that, along with a tragic stabbing attack that just happened in southern Israel yesterday. I'm Ben, and this is the Israel Guys. That video was of an IDF unit bringing a new Torah scroll back to a temporary synagogue in Gaza, a place where a Jewish community used to thrive before being expelled in 2005 to make room for Hamas. This is an aspect of the war that people tend to too often forget. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Thank you so much for joining us once again here on YouTube. If you have not already, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you can be alerted when we drop a new video. Also, don't forget about our Israel Guys Summit coming up in May. Registration is now open. Go to theisraelguys.com for all the latest information on that exciting summit coming up very soon. So yesterday, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer made a speech on the Senate floor calling for a regime change in Israel, not in the Palestinian Authority, not in Hamas, not in Iran or Syria or the UAE or a whole bunch of other countries, but in Israel, of all countries in the world. And what is the world's obsession with Israel? Why is every leader of every country in the world just absolutely obsessed with the state of Israel and how they run things and how they govern and their wars? And we could have 2 million people die in Afghanistan or be expelled in Afghanistan or whatever, and people don't care. People don't even know. There's not even a single New York Times article written about it. And, one Palestinian gets killed in the state of Israel, and it's international headlines around the world. Chuck Schumer, in his speech on the Senate floor, said that he believed that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had lost his way and was an obstacle to peace in the Middle East. He said that he believed that the Israeli people were being stifled by Netanyahu. He said that Bibi had been too willing to tolerate the civilian death toll in Gaza, and that as a democracy, this one's crazy, as a democracy, Israel has the right to choose its own leaders, and we should let the chips fall where they may, right? But the important thing is that Israelis are given a choice. The insinuation here is insane. He's insinuating that Israelis do not have a choice in their elections. Mr. Schumer, have you ever watched Israeli elections? In Israel, they have a very different democratic process to what we have here in the United States. There are a lot, the democracy, it's very similar to a lot of European democracies. The democracy is a lot closer to the people. Here in America, we have a democratic republic, which gives more extensive form of leadership to a more protected form of leadership with checks and balances to the president, to the administrative branch in the United States. But in Israel, their democracy is closer to the people, meaning if at any point enough Israelis feel like their government is not representing their wishes, they put pressure on their Knesset members. Knesset members can drop out of a coalition, the government falls apart, and they go back to elections. Meaning at any point, the people of Israel can take Israel back to elections. Unlike here in the United States, where if you want to oust a president, you have to go through a whole impeachment process. It has to be for really serious crimes. It's not just for anything. But in Israel, if the people don't feel like they're being represented, they can go back to elections, and they do. Every 5 minutes, Israel has an election, as we saw over the last couple of years when Israel went through a crazy number of elections, as part of which Bibi Netanyahu was actually ousted from Israeli government, from prime ministership, for over a year. Because the people of Israel thought they didn't want Bibi Netanyahu. He was ousted. He spent about a year out of the prime ministership and then was voted back in. He was voted back in 2002. And so I don't even understand in what universe this makes sense that the Israelis don't have a say in their elections. He's acting as if Bibi Netanyahu has been the dictator of Israel for the last 50 years and hasn't been out of politics. Bibi Netanyahu goes in and out of politics all the time. This is insanity. And right now, there's a unity government in Israel from the war still, where the opposition party to Bibi Netanyahu's coalition actually unified with the coalition for the war, for fighting the war, so that they could have a unity government inside of Israel, which they have not dropped out of yet. If the opposition leaders to Benjamin Netanyahu felt like Benjamin Netanyahu was taking too much liberty and not representing the people, they would drop out of the unity government. The insanity here is it's too deep to even fathom that the United States would push a regime change on their ally that actually has a very fluid democratic process when they're not pushing regime changes on Hamas, when they're using every excuse they possibly can to try to save Hamas as an entity that hasn't held elections since, I believe, 2006. What about the Palestinian Authority that they're pushing hook, line, and sinker, pushing Israel to make a two-state solution with the Palestinian Authority in Judea and Samaria, and also now in Gaza, where Mahmoud Abbas has been supreme dictator, my words, not his, of Judea and Samaria since 2005. They have not held re-elections in Judea and Samaria in the West Bank since 2005. I don't see Mr. Schumer pushing a regime change in Judea and Samaria. So that's on one hand. Israel does have a very strong democratic process still. The people have a lot of representation in their government, elections every 5 minutes, like I said. But also, on the other hand, Bibi actually has a tremendous amount of support inside of Israel, especially when it comes to his moves with the war. In a recent poll, 62% of Israelis support Bibi's post-war plan for Gaza, and only 16% oppose it, which is shocking, a shocking poll because 21% of Israelis are Arabs. So, you'd think that if you'd at least have 21% of Israeli Arabs that would oppose, the extermination of Hamas, what Israel's doing in Gaza, but you have 62% of Israelis support Benjamin Netanyahu's post-war plan for Gaza, and only 16% oppose it. And that's factoring in 21% of Israelis are Arabs. That's a tremendous, tremendous number of support. Benny Gantz, the opposition leader that is in the unity government with Bibi Netanyahu right now, condemned Schumer's statement. Also, Netanyahu's direct political rival, Naftali Bennett, who was prime minister right before Bibi Netanyahu, when Bibi Netanyahu was ousted from the prime ministership, he also condemned it as well. Also, the Knesset just voted 99-11, that's out of 120 seats in the Knesset, 99-11 against the recognition of a Palestinian state, against the wishes of the Biden administration, saying that with the threat of terrorism on its way to the West, it would be best if the international community would assist Israel in its just war, thereby also protecting their communities. 99-11 in the Knesset. If you know anything about Israeli politics, that's a tremendous number. You can't get 99 Knesset members to agree on anything that the color blue is blue, much less a resolution like this, standing in opposition to the United States government. 99 Knesset members voted to support Benjamin Netanyahu in what he's doing currently in the war. At the end of the day, Israel, at this current moment, doesn't want or need a regime change after the war because the democratic process in Israel is very fluid. It's very possible that Bibi Netanyahu might get voted out. The Israelis might want a fresh face in politics in Israel. There's, corruption charges and different things going around concerning Bibi that some people are squeamish about, and some of his, political policies and such, as is the way of politics. And so it's possible Israel might elect somebody else in. And if they want to, they will, because Israel is a democratic country with a very fluid, hardy, thriving democratic process. Mr. Schumer, stay out of Israeli politics. In a minute, we're going to get to a tragic terrorist attack that just happened yesterday in southern Israel. But first, are you the kind of person who looks to the timeless wisdom of the Hebrew Bible for guidance during challenging times? Are you passionate about uncovering the profound truths hidden deep within the sacred scriptures, especially when the world around us is in turmoil? The Israel Bible is not just another version of the Hebrew Bible. It's a window into the divine connection between the scriptures, the land of Israel, and our lives. Whether you're a Jew or Christian like me, who is seeking insight and inspiration amid the ongoing challenges in Israel, this is a revelation you do not want to miss. The Bible is not just history. It's about what's happening in our world right here, right now. The Israel Bible and its commentary illuminate God's focus on the land of Israel, explaining why the fate of humanity rests on this one small country. Imagine having a resource that combines the original Hebrew text with a clear, accurate English translation. The Israel Bible brings these ancient words to life like never before. It's not just for scholars or theologians. With profound commentary by Rabbi Tully Weiss and other Orthodox Jewish teachers, it's designed for everyday men and women who earnestly desire to read and understand the Word of God in all its truth. If you're eager to deepen your connection with God's Word and the Holy Land, you should consider purchasing the Israel Bible today. Click the link in the description below to find out more and start your journey towards understanding the sacred scriptures today. Yesterday, Israelis were waiting in line at a cafe at the Beit Kama junction in southern Israel when this happened. Senior warrant officer Uri Moyal, I'm not sure exactly how you say his name, was able to push the terrorist off after being stabbed. But the terrorist jumped on him and was stabbing him. He pushed him off, drew his weapon, and eliminated the terrorist. He was rushed to the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba, but died later on in the day from his wounds. The terrorist was an Israeli citizen, although he was originally from the Gaza Strip, so an Israeli Arab originally from the Gaza Strip. Committed this terrorist attack. According to Mogen David Adom, the ambulance service said, "We arrived at the scene with large forces. We saw a commotion. Near one of the shops, a 50-year-old man was lying unconscious, suffering from penetration wounds to his body. We immediately put him on a Mogen David Adom intensive care vehicle and evacuated him to the hospital in critical condition while CPR was being performed." And then he died later on, I guess, when he got to the hospital. There were reports that several more people were injured in the attack, although details are still coming out. This is yet another Ramadan attack. As Ramadan continues, it's insane how the world has been pushing Israel to discontinue attacks on Hamas in Gaza during Ramadan to give them a break during their holy month of Ramadan, when Ramadan all around the world has for a long time been a free-for-all for Muslims to commit terrorist attacks on non-Muslims. In Israel, it's the most volatile month of the year. It's when everyone clamps down. The police are on high alert because they know that gazillion terrorist attacks are going to happen during Ramadan. I don't know why it is that way, but it's reality. But if you live in the Middle East, Ramadan is the time to stay off the streets because you never know what is going to happen. And it's insane that Western countries would push Israel to discontinue their attacks during the holy month of Ramadan, when Ramadan is a free-for-all for Muslims to commit terrorist attacks and all kinds of atrocities against Jews and anyone else that they feel like committing attacks on. It's almost like people think that Ramadan should be a get-out-of-jail-free card for Muslims to kind of do whatever they want. I say that if you want to be respected on your holy days, you have to earn that respect from Western countries, from Jews, from Americans. If you want your holidays respected, you have to earn that respect. In Israel, holidays are holidays. They're holy days. They're days to worship God, to, have beautiful time with family. That's what Israel does on their holy days. That's what America tends to do on their holidays as well. But in Muslim countries, that does not seem to be the case. And so, I'd really say that, if Muslims want to be respected on their holy days, on their holidays, they need to earn that respect from others by not committing these atrocious acts of violence. So our prayers are with the family of this man that was killed and the others that were injured, that they, God willing, make a speedy recovery. We continue to send a strong message of support to the nation and people of Israel to finish Hamas off once and for all in Gaza. And even if the U.S. government doesn't stand with Israel the way that we would like them to, the people of America, many of us, do stand with Israel each and every day. You have our full support. Guys, don't forget to check out Israel 365's Israel Bible. Link is down in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe and get the conversation going down below. As always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We'll be back nearly every day, Monday through Friday, with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.